Right. It's been it's been a while since I've last posted something on this account, and I feel like it's time for a change. Um, I remember like I last posted something 2 years ago, I think, maybe even more than that. Might have been less than that, but anyway, I feel like it's time for a change on this account, and since I'm a very big Formula One fan, I thought that the type of content that I want to upload on this account would be for me to post news roundups, maybe even gaming of the F1 2019 game. Um, like I've said before, news, predictions, which is what I'm going to do today. Uh, just general discussions, maybe even a Q&A if my channel grows, which I personally don't feel like it will. But yeah, this is the type of content that I want to pursue, and I'm very excited to see what it will bring me in the future. But nonetheless, this was just a quick thing that I wanted to say before the video started. And yeah, let's just get into my predictions for the 2020 season. Quick disclaimer, by the way, the predictions are very, very bold predictions. Okay, so the 2019 season was very much interesting, I should say. We've seen Carlos Sainz just completely pop off, if I may say that. His season was absolutely insane. For example, we've seen rookies such as Lando Norris, Alex Albon, Antonio Giovinazzi, who didn't really have that good of a season. He had an average one, and George Russell, who literally just outclassed his teammate Robert Kubica. And we've also seen Lewis Hamilton dominate as always. Max Verstappen, he just did his own thing, and that really worked out. We've seen Valtteri Bottas win some races. Of course, we didn't see the Valtteri's James little message.
Valtteri, it's James. Please hold position. I'm sorry.
Copy, James.
Valtteri, it's James.
Copy, James.
But one person who really impressed me this season was actually Charles Leclerc. Charles was his season was very good. He of course outclassed Seb by literal miles. It was his first season at Ferrari. He really did very, very good. And we've seen by his most, like, he literally held the most pole positions. He destroyed everybody. It was quite unfortunate in Bahrain seeing that win, because the win was his. And it's just sad that his car almost broke down. I guess he had engine failures, or an engine failure to be more precise. He did get two victories though. He was really put under pressure in Spa after the loss of Antoine Hubert, who rest in peace, by the way. And he's shown that he can handle a lot under pressure, and that just shows you how good of a driver he is. And then victory at Monza, just fending off the Mercedes drivers. Another person who really impressed me and in my opinion had a very, very good season was Alex Albon. Last year, before he got into F1, he was gonna go into Formula E, which turned out to thankfully not be the case. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't even get to go into winter testing, and he like drove the car literally for the first time in Australia in practice. But we all know that he stepped up, did what he was asked to do at Toro Rosso, and then like the driver changed between him and Gasly, and from then on he just kept on getting consistent results and way better results than Gasly did at Red Bull. And I do think that Albon will be their guy for like past 2021, and that's just very good for Red Bull. For example, they have like the young prodigy of Max Verstappen, and then they have Alex Albon, who's a very, very solid driver, and I think it's a very good pairing that Red Bull has found with these two. But anyway, enough talk about how last season was like. And let's just get into my predictions for the 2020 season. So, moving on the 20th spot, I put Nicholas Latifi. He's just a new driver in like this whole F1 scene. I'm sure everybody knows about him. He got second place in F2 last year, and he is what we call a pay driver. He's in F1 for the money. I mean, it's clear that Williams just need the help of money, and this is why they got Latifi. I think he's 24 years old, so just shows you that he's kind of old to be a rookie in Formula One, even though we had like Giovinazzi last year who was 25 or 26, I think. But nonetheless, I think that just Latifi will be in the 20th spot. Moving on the 19th spot, we have George Russell, the first Williams driver. His 2019 season was very good in terms of his rookie season. As he said himself, the most consistent qualifying and race position on the whole grid. Nothing to complain about. um, but on the real though, this guy is a very good driver. He is extremely talented. But of course, there's something good about him being at Williams because he now has those connections with Mercedes. And if Lewis Hamilton goes to Ferrari in 2021, I feel like Russell could very well be one of the Mercedes drivers. Coming up on the 18th spot, we have Romain Grosjean. Uh, it's safe to say that his 2019 season wasn't the brightest season ever. Neither was just the whole Haas team. It just was such a poor season for them. Like coming from 2018, they finished in fifth and almost like overtook Renault in the like whole championship. And yeah, their season wasn't so good in 2019. And Grosjean, he's I wouldn't say he's an awful driver, but I would say he shouldn't have a seat in Formula One. Thinking that Nico Hulkenberg, he's out. Like he's not a driver in 2020, and Grosjean is still a driver, and that I cannot understand why, because Hulkenberg had such a solid season, and Grosjean didn't. And sadly, well, Grosjean still has a seat, and despite like still being an F1, I feel like he will finish in P18. On P17, I put Daniel Kvyat, or I should say the Torpedo.
The man they nicknamed the Torpedo.
Kvyat had a I don't know how to say this nicely. An alright season, I should say. Last year he did some classic torpedo moves. The most notable one being the one on Checo Perez. I'm talking about the dive that didn't quite work out in the USA. I mean, he got the position, but he kind of ruined Checo's race. And yeah, he had a lot of crashes. Yes, he was away from F1 for a whole year. There's nothing else I could say about him. It's just, I don't know, I feel like 2020 will be his last Formula 1 season. Coming up on P16, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, P16. We have Kevin Magnussen. Another Haas driver. Just to clear things out, I'm not a Haas fan. Let's just call it like that. I do not like the team at all. I do not like its drivers. Just feel like both of them shouldn't be in F1, or I should actually say that they should be the back markers in the game. They should be P19 and P20, but I don't know. Williams just don't have the money, and Haas do. Kevin Magnussen, his season was very decent compared to his teammate Romain Grosjean, but we've seen so many arguments between the two in 2019, and so many useless crashes, I would say, so many pointless fights between the two, on track and off track. And it's safe to say that these crashes and nudges and whatever you want to call them will just keep on coming. And Magnussen will come on top, of course. He is the better driver of the two. There's nothing else to say. It's just that he'll finish on P16. That's my prediction. Anyway, moving on P15, I've put Antonio Giovinazzi. I feel like his season will be decent in 2020. Uh, he will have the worst season of the two Alfa Romeo drivers. Uh, and that's literally all I can say about it. I mean, he had an okay season in 2019. He got that P6 in Brazil, very good result, by the way. And I feel like more results like that one in Brazil will come in 2020, and he will still finish P15 though, but it will be tad bit better than in 2019. On 14th place, I've put yeah boy, Lance Stroll, the paid driver. I think I mean he's not a paid driver anymore since his dad owns Racing Point, but he was a paid driver back in his Williams days. Anyway, I've put him in P14 because I don't think that he'll step up. I have to disagree with Tomo F1. By the way, I've seen his predictions. I don't think that Lance will get a good position, a good finishing position in the standings in 2020. I feel like his season will be just as bad as it was in 2019, even though in 2019 he finished in 15th place. It would be the same, could be better since I've put him in P15, 14. I'm sorry. I just the guy, like, I've said it before, not in videos, of course, because I didn't make videos before, but I've said it a million times that, like, the guy, the, like, his dad shouldn't have bumped him up from Formula 3 to Formula 1. I feel like he should have stayed in Formula 2, maybe for a year, maybe for 2 years, to mature. I mean, he was put from Formula 3 and Formula 1 like that. The guy just, it's sad because he actually had potential, and now that he was put in Formula 1 in the worst seat that somebody could have ever had in Williams, um, yeah, I don't know, it's just a sad story. His whole potential has just gone to nothing. That's why I'm putting him in P14. And now in P13, I've put the Iceman himself, Kimi Raikkonen. Uh, he had a very good season with Alfa Romeo last year. He got pretty consistent finishes. He got some good qualifying positions, some pretty high finishes, and I feel like the same will happen this season. And as somebody of his age, I mean, he's 40 years old or something like that. He is still performing, and he's getting the best out of a pretty bad car. On P12, I've put Pierre Gasly. Uh, he had a very solid season last year. Uh, I mean, the guy was unfortunate to say the least. I mean, he his first half of the season with Red Bull wasn't exactly ideal. He got okay finishes, but then very bad finishes as well. And quite frankly, I'm not surprised as of why Red Bull have dropped him. Albon was very decent with Toro Rosso, and they have made the right call to give up Gasly and to bring in Albon. And then from the bad first half of the season that he's had with Red Bull and at Toro Rosso, Gasly in the second half of the season was just back to his old 2018 days, just getting consistent results, good results, just being the same person that he was like 2 years ago. And that's probably due to him not having that pressure on his shoulders. And I feel like he won't have this pressure this year because he's gonna have a full season with AlphaTauri, not Toro Rosso. I'm sorry for saying Toro Rosso before. He just is going to have a pretty good season, I think, and I'm predicting one more podium for him this year, and a P5 or P6 as his second best finish. And by podium, I meant like a P3. Moving on, in P11, I've put Esteban Ocon. Just to clear things out, I am not a big Ocon fan. I do not like him at all. I feel like he is a little bit overrated. I don't get the hype that people have put around him, being this young prodigy or very good, promising driver, or I don't know. In 2018, he has proved that he's not extremely mature. He's proved that he does not know how to think rationally. Right now, talking about the Max Verstappen crash in Brazil 2018. I don't know. He just I'm really hoping that he has learned from his mistakes and that everything will be better right now in 2020, but you never know. He could be the same driver that I was talking about earlier, or he could be completely reformed, completely changed. You never know. But for the time being, I'm putting him in P11. I feel like that's not too high, not too low. I feel like it's right where the guy should be at. And now we have entered the top 10 drivers. And on P10, I've put Lando Norris. He had an exceptional rookie season for McLaren. The guy is just a very, very good, like all around driver. His 2020 season is going to be very, very good. His partnership with Sainz is going to be deadly. Like the two guys are very good, and McLaren will have an extremely good season. And so will Lando Norris. He'll, in my opinion, I feel like he will have very consistent results, and I am predicting two, maybe even three podiums in Formula One next season for Lando Norris. And in P9, I've put Daniel Ricciardo. What else is there to say about this guy? I mean, he is one of the best drivers on the grid at the moment. It's kind of sad that he's at Renault. My opinion, he shouldn't have left Red Bull. Of course, well, like that's in the past. We can't do anything about it. Right now, he's at Renault. He's had an okay season last year, and I feel like he'll have a better season this year. And there's many more to come for him. And who knows? Maybe we'll see a podium for this guy. I mean, he really deserves it. He was grinding last year, and he's gonna grind this year as well. And I cannot wait to see that Daniel Ricciardo podium again. You never know. And on P8, I have put Checo Perez or Sergio Perez, however you want to call him. Like, this guy has literally carried Racing Point on his back, like forever. Back when it was Force India, he had Racing Point on his back. Racing Point now, like on his back. I'm expecting a podium from Checo as well. I mean, the guy is just an absolute machine. What else can I say about him? He's a very, very, very good driver. Last season was pretty good for him. He, like I've said before, he just carried Racing Point on his back and Lance Stroll with him as well. I suppose it was very heavy. And yeah, there's many more to come in 2020 for Checo. And now, the final driver outside of the top three teams, we have Carlos Sainz. Everybody probably expected that. The man had such a good year in 2019. He drove an extremely good race in Brazil. Like, I don't think anybody gave him the credit that he deserves in 2019. I mean, like I'm giving Brazil as an example right now. He started in P20 and he finished in P3, of course, with the help of Hamilton's penalty. But still, that does not deny the fact that he drove an outstanding race. I mean, what else is there to say? Even if Lewis wouldn't have gotten the penalty, he would have been P4. That's still amazing. Like, he overtook 16 people. 16? Are you mad? That's insane, bro. Like, the man is such a good driver. And I know I've said such a good driver so many times, like in this video, and there's nobody else who deserves this more than Carlos. He has moved to a different team in almost every year over the past 3 years, was it? was at Toro Rosso, then he moved to Renault, and then he moved to McLaren, and he's finally found his place with McLaren. And I'm so happy that he did because this is his team, and he's found his bromance, if I should call it like that, and would call it like that actually, with Lando Norris, and like the partnership between the two is something very cool. And now, onto our top six drivers from the top three teams. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. Actually, I don't, I think it's predictable that I've put Alex Albon in P6. The guy what had a roller coaster of a season in 2019. I think I could call it like that because he started his season okay with Toro Rosso, and then of course he got the call from Helmut Marko at like the second half of the season, like a week before the Spa race. So then he got called up to the Red Bull team, and he drove an outstanding race in Spa. I think he got a P6. I could be wrong. Uh, Either way, he drove an outstanding race, and for his first race with Red Bull, that was very, very good and very controlled race. Of course, that overtake on the grass, that was pretty cool. It was a very good overtake, and then that race in Spa was followed by a lot of very good races. Of course, who can forget Brazil? I mean, the guy was almost going to get his first podium in Formula One in his first season in Formula One as well. And for like what I don't know the number of the race that it was when he drove in Brazil, but either way, it was in his first season in Formula One, and he got that P3 almost, and it got ruined by Hamilton, and it's sad to hear that, but he is an absolutely supreme driver, and I'm curious to see where he will end up in 2021. Who knows? Maybe he'll make the top four. And moving on to the top five, this is where the bold predictions come in. Everybody would probably say that it would be Seb Vettel. I disagree with that. I am putting Valtteri Bottas in P5. I know it's probably a shock. I don't know, but he had a very very good 2019 season. I mean, he got second in the driver standings, and that was a very good finish for him. And he had a couple of wins, a lot of P2s. The whole Valtteri it's James didn't happen again. He was allowed to win races, unlike 2018, and I feel like 2020 won't be that good of a season for him, or the top five will be very close between like him, Leclerc, Vettel, Verstappen, and Hamilton. I feel like the top five will be extremely close in 2020. I think that that's more plausible than just the top five being just scattered around. So yeah, Bottas in P5. Moving on to the fourth driver in my standings, I've put Charles Leclerc in P4. This this is probably very controversial. A lot of people would probably not necessarily complain. I'd say argue with my opinion, but I feel like Leclerc will have a very similar 2020 compared to his 2019 year season, whatever you want to call it. He will have a lot of pole positions as he had last year, two victories as well as he had last year, and maybe one or two DNFs. I don't know. I do feel like his 2020 season will be very similar to his 2019 season. And this is the reason as of why I put Leclerc in P4. And now moving on to the top three drivers. Now, I know people are going to be angry. I know a lot of people disagree with me. But I have faith that Seb will finish in the top three. I feel like Seb will be third in the Drivers' Championship. He will just. I think he's had enough of not having good results, and he's just going to get the job done. He's going to get closer to his goal of getting another Drivers' Championship. Of course, he won't succeed, but he will just step it up and not. Like 2019 was a very, very bad season for him. He got a P5 result. And because of that, as I was saying before, I think he's gonna step it up and he's going to get that P3 finish in the overall driver's standings. But who knows? I could be wrong. But this is what I think. For at least this is what I hope will happen. I'm a huge Seb fan. In my opinion, he is a supremely good driver. I mean, he won 4 consecutive driver titles with Red Bull, and Red Bull. Yeah, they were dominant, but he still won the 4 titles. And like even when he moved to Ferrari, he still had like good chances to win the drivers championships, which of course went to Hamilton, Rosberg. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm really hoping he gets that P3 finish in the overall standings. And now to the top 2 drivers. This won't be as bold as the previous ones. I mean, everybody would expect that, but I'm putting Max Verstappen in P2 and Lewis Hamilton in P1. I'm gonna start off with Verstappen just to clear things out. He is my favorite driver on like the whole F1 grid. He is my guy. Like he's repping the 30th of September. Like big facts. I'm born on the same day as Max. You know, gang gang. What can I say? But yeah, he's like the guy just proved to be the only one who can compete with Hamilton, and I honestly think that he will get more wins, maybe 4 or 5 victories this season. He will get extremely close to Hamilton. I think he'll even overtake him at some point in the Drivers' Championship. Who knows? But yeah, his 2020 season will be his best so far. He's gonna get so close to that championship, but sadly, the championship will go to Hamilton. And now, moving to Hamilton, he's gonna get his 7th world title. He's going to even out Michael Schumacher, and who knows, maybe in 2021 he's gonna go for the 8th driver title, and he's going to become the most successful driver in history. But like, I'm a Schumacher fan. Okay, I grew up watching Schumacher just win races and dominate with Ferrari. Like I was 3 years old, 4 years old maybe. When I started watching Formula One. Like, and Schumacher was always my favorite. And then when I heard that he came back in 2010 to go like with Mercedes, that just lightened up. Like it lit me up. Like I became so much happier that my idol was back. But yes, I feel like Hamilton will win his 7th title and he will even out Michael Schumacher. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Then again, I know it's been a long time since I've last posted something. I'm not even sure if people are still like interested in my dead channel with my 100 subscribers, but I don't know. I feel like this is the time for me to change my content, and I feel like I am changing it into the better, and I'm really hoping that you guys like this new style of videos and like the new topics that I'm talking about, and I'm just very excited to see like what I can do in the future. And then again, to not offend anybody, these are just my predictions. It's an opinion. I know that a lot of you will probably get very weirded out by me saying that Vettel will finish 3rd, not 5th, maybe even 6th, 4th, I don't know. But know that it's my opinion and it's just an opinion. And yeah, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.